A respected law professor is executed in his driveway. Years later, prosecutors would argue the key to the entire case was a woman who never pulled the trigger.
Back in 2014, the defendant had a rich boyfriend named Charlie Adelson. And Charlie Adelson's family had a big problem, and that problem was Dan Markel.
As investigators followed the money, they uncovered a web of relationships, secret payments that created a deadly conspiracy.
The Prius led to Rivera, Rivera led to Garcia, and the bad blood led to the Adelsons, and both trails end at Katherine Magbanua.
But the verdict many expected never came.
As Ms. Magbanua, I will declare this case mistried.
The first jury deadlocked, the second sealed her fate, and before long, she was helping build a case against the people prosecutors believed were the true masterminds.
And when you testified, were you truthful with the jury?
No, ma'am, I was not.
And why then come now with a different story?
I think that the truth needed to come out, and the people responsible needed to get arrested.
Welcome to this episode of Female Criminals. I'm Elizabeth Millner. Miami, Florida. That's where we meet this week's female criminal, Katherine Magbanua. Katherine was born in December of 1984. She's originally from the Philippines. Then she and her family moved stateside to Miami, Florida. By Katherine's late teens, a friend of hers introduces her to a man named Sigfredo Garcia.
We just hung out one day. I don't remember. It's so long ago. I was young.
Did you guys meet in high school?
No, it was after high school.
Soon, Katherine and Sigfredo begin dating, and they later move in together. Then in 2007, the couple welcomes their first child, a baby boy. 5 years later, the couple welcomes a second child, a baby girl. And although they refer to each other as husband and wife at times, Sigfredo and Katherine were never legally married. Their relationship was turbulent, plagued by accusations of cheating and Sigfredo's alleged drug use.
Did a specific incident occur that caused you to break up with him?
I believe so, yeah. There was a phone call where his phone kind of called me by accident. I kind of overheard him talking about something to one of his friends, about a girl maybe, and I was done.
Was this a serious separation?
Yes, at this time, yes.
Did Mr. Garcia try to get back together with you?
Yes.
How did he do that?
I mean, I've been with him forever, so, he'd say the right things and we try to work it out again.
By late 2013, Katherine and Sigfredo's relationship is done, and she says this time it's for good. Katherine rebounds with a new man, a handsome periodontist named Charlie Adelson. In South Florida, Charlie Adelson was known around town as kind of a playboy. Charlie Adelson grew up in a wealthy family in Coral Springs, Florida. His dad, Harvey, is a successful dentist. His mom, Donna, was a former teacher who worked part-time at her husband's practice. Charlie had two siblings, Rob Adelson and Wendy Adelson. All the Adelson children were successful in their own right. Rob Adelson is a doctor. Wendy Adelson is a lawyer. As for Charlie, he followed in his father's footsteps, becoming a dentist and eventually taking over the Adelson Institute from his father.
My name is Dr. Charlie Adelson, and I am a periodontist, owner, and co-partner with my father, Dr. Harvey Adelson, who's a cosmetic dentist. What I love about what I do is being able to restore people's smiles and change the way they chew, change the way they live, and change their self-esteem and how they think about themselves on a daily basis.
But Katherine and Charlie actually meet at a different dental office, SoFi Dental in South Beach, Florida.
Was he an employee of Sophie Dental, or was he like a subcontractor?
A subcontractor. He was a specialist.
Now, how is it that you two started to communicate outside of the work arena?
I believe he was asking a couple of the girls, if I was single, and then he took down my number, or I think he put his number on my phone.
Katherine and Charlie's relationship is pretty casual at first. Over time, she's introduced to family, beginning with Charlie's sister Wendy at a dinner, and then a fun beach day. Katherine and Charlie never called each other boyfriend or girlfriend, or made their relationship official. And Katherine would later admit in court to still sleeping with her children's father, Sigfredo Garcia, at the same time she was dating Charlie Adelson. By the summer of 2014, the relationship between Katherine and Charlie begins to fizzle out. but they still remain friends. Charlie reportedly even encourages Katherine to get back together with Sigfredo. Sigfredo, however, wasn't too happy about Charlie and didn't like them communicating even as friends. According to Katherine's friend, Yindra Velasquez Mascaro, things nearly came to a blow between Sigfredo and Charlie in July of 2014.
And Sigfredo pulls up out of nowhere, blocks him in, jumps out the car, and starts going off on them.
Yes.
Katie never actually told you so that she could hear what was being said.
No.
All right. And like you said, Charles was able to somehow divert and just get out of the way.
That's correct.
All right.
That same month, a murder about 500 miles away would rock the Adelson family forever. On July 18, 2014, Dan Markel, the ex-husband of Charlie's sister Wendy, is shot in the head in his driveway in Tallahassee, Florida.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
We heard him looked in, the garage door was up, and I thought the gentleman was backing out, and I went back to my house, but he never backed out, and I came back over, and his driver's side window is shattered, and he's battered and can't answer. He's inside. I don't know if somebody tried to shoot him or if he shot himself or what. I don't know. He didn't send an ambulance in a hurry.
What's going on with him?
I don't know. The driver's side window is all bashed in, and he's got blood all over his head. He's not responding to me. I think you need to hurry.
Dan Markel is rushed to a Tallahassee hospital, but he passes away from his injuries the following day. His case is immediately treated as a homicide investigation. The question is, who would want to kill a Florida State University law professor? At the time of his murder, Dan Markel and Wendy Adelson had been divorced about a year following a bitter divorce and custody battle over their 2 sons. Wendy Adelson is interviewed by detectives the day of the shooting. Investigators want to know if Wendy and Dan's contentious divorce had anything to do with what happened to him.
Daniel's been shot, okay, and we have to find out why and who did this. Can you help with that?
I will try.
Okay. What I want to do right now to try to expedite things, okay, but I need your permission, is I want to take your cell phone and download all the information out of it.
Sure.
Do you have a problem with that?
No.
Okay. And then we're going to make arrangements for you to get the kids, or we'll get the kids somehow, okay? Because the kids are at daycare, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to need their mother.
Yeah. Danny didn't treat me very well, and I'm so scared that maybe someone did this. Not because they hate Danny, but because they thought this was good somehow.
Oh, are you saying that you think maybe one of your friends would have done something like this?
Who would do this?
I don't know. That's why you're here, and that's why we're talking. Would you ever ask someone to do something like this?
Not in a million years.
Okay. Do you think someone would do this for your benefit without asking you?
No.
What good does it serve?
I made my brother, his name is Charlie, the one I'm really close to, he makes a lot of jokes in bad taste, and it was a joke he made. He bought the TV for me this morning that got broken, and then I was talking to him about whether it made sense to pay to fix it or whether I should get a new one, and it was always his joke that, like, he knew Danny treated me badly, and it was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman, and it was cheaper to get you this TV, so instead I got you this TV. I mean, he would never. He's my big brother, and he's been taking care of me since I was little, but he would never. And I told that to the repair guy this morning.
Right.
During Wendy's 5-hour interrogation, she mentions multiple times her family did not like her ex-husband, especially her brother Charlie Adelson.
You know, my parents are, very angry towards him. But even when they're around my kids, they would never say a bad word about my kid's father. They're really, really careful about that. They just like him, but they know he's the father of my kids. They would never do that.
Right.
I don't know who would be angry enough with him.
Well, that's what I have to find out.
To do something like this.
The brother that you're real close to, I have to do a lot of elimination at the same time. The brother that you're really close to, the one that joked about the TV and everything, What'd you say his name was?
Charlie.
Charlie, and he's in Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what kind of car he has.
He has like 5 cars.
Can't tell me all of them.
He drives I think one of them is an unmarked police car.
Oh, really?
He's a bit of a character.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, if you found out that this was someone that you personally know, would that change your mind about what should happen to that person?
About what should happen to that person?
For prosecution purposes.
No.
Is there any way that you would think
somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Regardless of who it is?
I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother, but I don't think it was my family.
Okay.
Anyone outside my immediate family, that's a tough one.
Okay.
But I don't think my immediate family did this, so
Okay.
if it's anybody else, yeah.
Okay. Do you think that this guy Charlie would even be capable of doing something like this?
No.
It's just talk.
He's the Joker.
Okay. All right. Based on the fact that the clock is already ticking, all right, and we have to do as much work as possible up front.
Back in 2014, Charlie had not been publicly identified as a suspect. Even now, Wendy Adelson has never been publicly named a suspect or even charged in her ex-husband's murder. Detectives are back to square one. Katherine Magbanua would later say in court Charlie Adelson never told her about his former brother-in-law's murder. So her life continues as normal. There is one noticeable difference though. Around the fall of 2014, Katherine starts living a little more lavishly. She travels to the Dominican Republic. She gets breast enhancement surgery, which she pays for in cash. Down the line, Katherine and Sigfredo Garcia rekindle their relationship. By 2015, their family is back together. Little did they know investigators were keeping a close eye on them. And by May of 2016, everything changes. On May 25, 2016, Sigfredo Garcia is arrested at a South Florida gas station for cocaine possession and first-degree murder in connection to the death of Dan Markel. Sigfredo Garcia isn't the only one arrested for Dan Markel's killing. An arrest warrant is also issued for a reported gang leader named Luis Rivera, who is already serving federal prison time for an unrelated case. Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera were both indicted by a Leon County grand jury in June of 2016. According to the indictment, quote, on or about the 18th day of July 2014, in the county of Leon and state of Florida, did unlawfully kill a human being, Daniel Markel, by shooting with a firearm actually possessed, and the killing was perpetrated from or with a premeditated design or intent to effect the death of Daniel Markel. Their arrests are shocking. What ties could a convicted gang member and a South Florida man possibly have to FSU law professor Dan Markel, who lived hundreds of miles away in Tallahassee? Detectives discovered Dan Markel's murder wasn't a random act of violence. Police didn't have a lot to go on during the initial stages of the investigation, until they got a lead from Dan Markel's neighbor who called 911. The neighbor told police he spotted a light-colored car that looked like a Toyota Prius back out of the driveway after the shooting. On July 23, 2014, 5 days after Dan Markel's murder, investigators released a surveillance photo of the vehicle of interest, a light-colored Toyota Prius. Then detectives discover evidence that the men in the Prius had stalked Dan Markel before he was murdered. In July of 2015, police reportedly obtained video from a city bus of what they believed to be the same Toyota Prius. In the video, you can't see a driver or make out a clear image of a license plate. However, there was a toll transponder on the windshield. Investigators pulled toll records of Toyota Priuses heading into Tallahassee around the time of the murder. The toll records lead them to a car rental agency in Miami, Florida. Detectives obtained the rental agreement for the car, which had shown it'd been rented by Luis Rivera. Using the cell phone number Luis provided on the agreement, investigators are able to track him down. But there was another number on the agreement labeled simply Brother. Detectives traced that number to Sigfredo Garcia, a childhood friend of Rivera's. But their arrest only begged more questions. Why would they have wanted Dan Markel dead? Court documents later made public linked Sigfredo Garcia to the family of Dan's ex-wife, Wendy, specifically Charlie Adelson. According to a report by ABC News, the arrest affidavit for both Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera alleges Charlie reportedly did not like Markel and did not get along with him. The document alleges Sigfredo and Luis were enlisted to commit this egregious act, and police believe the motive for the killing stemmed from the desperate desire of the Adelson family to relocate Wendy and the children she shared with Dan to South Florida. Prior to Wendy and Dan's divorce in 2013, Dan reportedly fought Wendy's attempt to move their young sons to South Florida to be closer to her family. But back in 2016, prosecutors did not charge anyone in the Adelson family for Dan Markel's murder. According to state prosecutor Georgia Kappelman, there wasn't enough evidence to do so. Lawyers for the Adelsons released a joint statement saying in part, quote, "None of the Adelsons, Wendy, her brother Charlie, or their parents Donna and Harvey had anything to do with Dan's murder. We understand why the government has put the Adelson family through this type of severe scrutiny, but nothing has turned up that supports this fanciful fiction that the Adelsons were involved." Meanwhile, both Luis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia were bound for trial in late 2016. Then a shocking arrest in the fall of that same year put that to a halt. On October 1st, 2016, 31-year-old Katherine Magbanua is arrested in connection with Dan Markel's murder. Investigators allege Katherine is the quiet connector between the alleged hitman and the Adelson family. According to a probable cause affidavit obtained by Law&Crime, Katherine Magbanua was involved in a personal relationship with Charlie Adelson, the victim's former brother-in-law. Call records show Magbanua as one of Charlie's top contacts. Investigators further believe Magbanua enlisted the father of her two children, Sigfredo Garcia, and his close associate, Luis Rivera, to carry out this murder, and they were all compensated for their actions. The document further alleges that after Wendy Adelson's request to relocate the children was denied with prejudice, Wendy's mom, Donna, repeatedly pressured her to coerce Dan Markel to allow the move to South Florida with their children. According to the document, quote, "Information was also received from Wendy's prior boyfriend, who stated Wendy had disclosed that Charlie had previously looked into hiring a hitman the summer before, and he was told it would cost $15,000. During her police interview, Wendy said Charlie mentioned that as a joke. While in the interview room, Wendy reportedly wanted to call her parents to notify them of the shooting. She allegedly muttered to the victim advocate that her parents were very angry with Dan Markel and described it as a very effed up situation. Wendy calls her mom Donna Adelson and allegedly asked her to notify Charlie of the shooting. According to the probable cause affidavit, Donna called Charlie and it went to voicemail. He returns her call and they speak on the phone for 5 minutes and 47 seconds. Charlie calls Donna again and speaks with her for 6 minutes and 31 seconds. Then he calls Katherine Magbanua, and they reportedly speak on the phone for nearly 3 minutes. Officials say the call made to Katherine is significant because, quote, "As previously stated, investigators believe Magbanua was the person that facilitated the homicide, in that she is the link between the subject family members and the shooters." Investigators soon get confirmation of Katherine's role in Dan Markel's murder from one of the alleged hitmen themselves.
I was maybe 3 or 4 feet away from his car. Garcia jumps out, goes around the car where he's driving. I think Markel was on the phone that day. Shot him twice, got in the car, we left.
This October 2016 police interview with Luis Rivera not only directly implicates Katherine Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia, but Luis alleges there was at least one Adelson aware of the plan.
I asked him in the car before Katie called, "What is she doing up here?" She came up here to see if everything's all right with the kids. I said, "Man, you gotta know something besides that. What this lady's doing up here, and she knows that we're up here. She knows you're up here. So what's she doing up here?" So when he calls Katie. "Hey, what's going on? I seen this lady over here." "Oh no, she's making sure that everything is fine. That before, what time he's leaving tomorrow on the flight or wherever the he's going." I said, "So we gotta do this tomorrow, huh?" He's like, "Yeah, 'cause he's leaving, and she came to see the kids." But I seen her face and everything. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, we're going back to the hotel. I'm sitting down. I'm sitting down on the chair in the hotel, and he's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "No, I'm just curious what the this lady's doing up here on Thursday."
You drove by, you saw her walking the kids. You asked him, he says that's Wendy. She's making sure that we're gonna do this or whatever.
That she wanted to make sure that we was up there. She thought that we were lying, that he was lying.
And you said before that he calls Katie.
He calls Katie. I think right when we had dumped the gun, I think he called her and he said, "Everything is done. Make sure you have my money. I'm on my way." When we get back to the house, he calls, "Yeah, with my money." She goes, "Don't worry about it. You have it tomorrow morning." I can hear it.
I know, but I want to go back. You're driving out of Tallahassee. The Markel's been shot. You're driving out of Tallahassee. All right. And then, are you saying that you dumped the gun before he made the first phone call? Because the big deal was about, he calls her and says...
Yeah, he called and told her it's done. Everything is done. I think way before we dumped that gun, or after we done the gun, but for sure, 100%, he called and said, hey, it's done already.
Do you hear her on the other end?
Yeah, I can hear her. She goes, okay, I know, all right.
Okay, I know, all right.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, how the does she know? Like, you know, how would she know if it's done?
But it's Katie's voice.
Yeah, it's Katie's voice, 100%. It's Katie's voice. He can't call Wendy. I don't know her voice. I know Katie's voice.
Remember, though, in 2016, no one from the Adelson family was arrested or charged in connection to Dan Markel's death. But within days of Katherine's arrest, Luis Rivera pleads guilty to his role in killing the FSU law professor. By October of 2016, Luis Rivera is already serving a 12-year federal prison sentence on an unrelated charge. Under this plea arrangement, he avoids the death penalty and even a life sentence. Luis Rivera is sentenced to only an additional 7 years for the murder of Dan Markel. Under the terms of the plea, he must also fully cooperate with authorities. That includes testifying against Katherine and his childhood friend, Sigfredo. In October of 2019, more than 5 years after Dan Markel's murder, Katherine Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia stand trial. While none of the Adelsons are on trial at this point, the Adelson name becomes a focal point in the prosecution's case.
Law enforcement's gathering these surveillance images, trying to get information about the suspects and the vehicle that might be involved in this murder. While they're doing that, they're simultaneously trying to learn more about Dan Markel's life, who is close to him, who might have a motive to want him dead. Law enforcement meets with Markel's ex-wife, Wendy Adelson, whereby they learn that she has been embroiled in a very contentious divorce and continued litigation with Mr. Markel regarding the enforcement of the divorce settlement agreement and specifically the custody of their 2 boys. Pleadings from the divorce indicate that Wendy Adelson had made efforts to relocate to South Florida. She'd actually moved to South Florida with the kids, and a court ordered her on June 20th, 2013, that she had to come back to Tallahassee. She couldn't leave with Mr. Markel's children. The divorce between Wendy and Dan Markel was final back on July 31st of 2013, but as I mentioned, the litigation continued as both sides filed pleadings back and forth in reference to alleged violations of the divorce agreement, in reference to child custody, and specifically one of the last pleadings filed prior to Dan Markel's murder is in reference to Wendy Adelson's mother, his mother-in-law, Donna Adelson. And in this pleading, he alleged that the children's grandmother, Donna Adelson, was disparaging him to the kids, and he was petitioning the court to order that Donna Adelson not be allowed to have unsupervised contact with his children, her grandchildren. A ruling was never made on that motion because Dan Markel was murdered before the hearing was conducted. Wendy Adelson was interviewed, as I mentioned, and she will tell you that she sure hopes someone didn't do this on her behalf. She will tell you that her brother, Charlie Adelson, who also lives in South Florida with her mother, not with, but in the same area as her mother, Donna Adelson, and her father, Harvey Adelson. She'll tell you that Charlie, quote, looked into hiring a hitman, but decided buying her a TV as a divorce present would be cheaper. And what was her alibi for the murder? Where was she when Dan Markel was killed? She has a witness who was present at her home, a repairman who was fixing that very TV.
The state's theory is that Katherine enlisted Sigfredo, who then asked Luis Rivera for help. While the prosecution claims Katherine wasn't anywhere near Tallahassee at the time of Dan Markel's murder, she and the hitmen still benefited financially from their roles.
So on July 18th, 2014, Rivera and Garcia follow Professor Markel to the daycare where he drops off his kids at approximately 8:50 in the morning. Then they go to the gym where they wait in the parking lot while Mr. Markel works out. And then they go to his home where Rivera pulls the Prius into the driveway, close up to the bumper of Mr. Markel where he's parked in his driveway. You'll hear that Garcia gets out and approaches Markel with the revolver purchased on the street by Luis Rivera, and that that Garcia shoots Mr. Markel twice through the driver's window before hopping back into the Prius. Rivera backs out of the driveway and they head back to Miami. I mentioned earlier that both men had their phones off, and that once they turn their phones back on, the very first call that either of them make after the homicide is Mr. Garcia to Katherine Magbanua. And what does he say? He says, "The job is done." And what does she reply? She says, "I know." There's a brief discussion about when they'll get their money. And Katherine Magbanua says, "Don't worry about the money. I will get the money. You'll get it tomorrow." Then the next day, Rivera was at the barber shop when he talked to Katherine Magbanua. She advised that she had the money and was looking for Garcia to pay up, but wasn't able to find Garcia. Rivera knew where to look for Garcia at another young lady's residence. Rivera successfully rounds up Garcia and they all meet at Rivera's house where Rivera gets his payment. So Rivera, Garcia, and Magbanua are all present. Rivera gets his money, $35,000, stapled into packs of $1,000 apiece. Garcia also gave Rivera a little extra money later that night while they're out celebrating.
Because the former couple was tried together, their defense attorneys each gave their own opening statement to the jury. Katherine Magbanua's defense attorney mentions the Adelson family numerous times and argues her client is innocent.
They want you to believe that Katherine Magbanua was paid for a murder in cash, and then she walked into the bank to deposit it, the place where no one will ever find it. That she decided to walk into a bank with video cameras and a record, and that was the plan to hide the money in the bank. Now, what the evidence is going to show you is that there's no evidence of withdrawals from the Adelson's accounts, none of them, and there's no evidence of cash deposits into Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera's account. And why is that? Remember what Ms. Kappelman said yesterday in voir dire? Criminals don't leave their DNA and fingerprints. Remember when she said that? They want you to believe that Katherine is a part of this elaborate scheme, but she is the only one that is leaving a trace of cash deposits into her bank. She's sitting here accused of a crime that she did not commit, with no direct, reliable evidence that has her involved. So at this point, the state now is, the cases are going, Sigfredo's case is set for trial, Luis's case is set for trial, and they want the Adelsons bad.
And Sigfredo Garcia's attorney argues the jury shouldn't trust the word of Luis Rivera.
The government has hitched their wagon to Luis Rivera. That's this case, okay? There's going to be speculation and an additional theory of why the Adelsons wanted to hurt Dan Markel. That's an additional case. This case, Sigfredo's case, is premised around Luis Rivera. And I'll tell you why. Because the only person that can put Sigfredo Garcia at the scene, the only person who can tell you that Sigfredo Garcia got out of the car and purportedly shot Dan Markel is who? It's the guy who got the 7 years. The guy who got the deal of a lifetime. The evidence is going to show that my client has children with Miss Magbanua. He loves her. That's his girlfriend. That's his wifey. But they were going through a rough patch. You know who she was dating? She was dating Charlie Adelson. They want you to believe, and the evidence will show from the government's own witnesses, that Sigfredo Garcia was in love with Katie, and he was not happy, not one bit, that this dental playboy that drives around in a Ferrari with nice hair and big muscles and a long, long wallet was with his wifey. They want you to believe that this man, whose heart was broken, decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and help out the guy that's with my wife.
A key witness for the prosecution's case is none other than Luis Rivera.
What was Mr. Markel doing when you pulled up behind him?
He was on the phone.
All right, still seated in the driver's seat of his vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened once you pulled into his driveway?
As soon as I pulled in, Garcia jumped off. Jumped out the car and went around. Not around, but in front of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Right behind his car and in front of the car I was driving. Went to the driver's side and shot him.
He shot Mr. Markel?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times?
Twice.
Did you actually see Mr. Garcia shoot Mr. Markel?
Of course.
Do you remember any conversation where Ms. Magbanua was indicating to Mr. Garcia where you could hear her saying, make sure you get everything done right. When you are done, call me?
Yes.
When was that?
That was the second trip. It was for murder the guy.
Were you a member of this conspiracy to accomplish the murder of Mr. Markel?
Not at all.
You didn't have anything to do with it?
I mean, and yeah, he told me about it to go, but if you're saying if I got hired, no.
Well, you got paid, didn't you?
Yeah, from Garcia.
All right, so Garcia hired you to do a murder, didn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
And who hired him?
The Addison family.
I'm sorry?
The Wendy family.
Wendy's family hired him?
Yeah.
Okay, and how was Wendy's family connected to Sigfredo Garcia?
Because Katie was dating the dentist.
The dentist Luis Rivera is referring to is Charlie Adelson. Charlie isn't called to testify during Katherine and Sigfredo's 2019 trial, but a lot of people were anxious to hear testimony from his sister, Wendy Adelson.
And did you say how you know Ms. Magbanua?
She was dating my brother.
Prosecutors say Wendy Adelson is testifying under an immunity deal. While the deal prevents her testimony from being used against her, there is still a possibility the state could charge her at a later time.
Do you know if there's a safe in your parents' house that has stacks of cash inside?
I don't know about a safe with stacks of cash.
So you don't have a stack of cash in your parents' safe that's Wendy's stack?
No.
Okay. Did Charlie Adelson like Dan Markel? And again, I'm referring to the time frame before his death.
I mean, I think he was also, he would listen to me when I would tell him about things I was upset about at the time with the divorce. So whether he liked him or didn't like him, he certainly was supportive of me.
Okay, but he never expressed any dislike?
No.
Did he mention hiring a hitman to kill your husband?
Objection, hearsay.
No.
Did he ever joke about he looked into hiring a hitman, but buying you a TV as a divorce present would be cheaper?
He did make that joke.
Who made the arrangements for that TV repair?
I did.
Your mom didn't make those arrangements?
I don't believe so.
Did Charlie ever say that he considered all possible options to take care of the problem being Dan Markel?
Objection, hearsay.
Oh.
Your Honor, I just have a standing objection, so I don't keep
You bet.
Did he ever say that?
No.
After the murder of Mr. Markel, did Charlie Adelson take you out for a celebration dinner?
No.
Do you recall any dinner where shortly after Mr. Markel's death where you were with Mr. Charlie Adelson and vomited?
I do remember that dinner. I'm sorry?
Go ahead, I interrupted you.
After Danny died, I was terrified that someone was going to come after me or my children and harm us as well.
Were you involved in any way in a plot to kill Dan Markel?
No.
Do you have any knowledge of anyone being involved in a plot to kill your husband?
No.
Once the case is handed over to the defense, Sigfredo Garcia declines to take the stand in his own defense. Katherine, however, decides to testify.
Did you have anything to do with the murder of Dan Markel?
No, ma'am.
Did you get the father of your children, Mr. Garcia, to commit a murder on behalf of Mr. Charlie Adelson?
No, ma'am.
Now I want to turn your attention to July 18th of 2014. You now know that that was an important day in this case.
Yes, ma'am.
You've now learned that that was the day that Dan Markel was executed.
Yes, ma'am.
Did Mr. Garcia ever tell you that he was leaving town?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember Mr. Garcia ever telling you, I'm going up north, I'm going to Tallahassee?
No, ma'am.
Would Tallahassee have stuck out in your mind?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And apart from being here for the past 3 years, had you ever been to Tallahassee before?
No, ma'am.
Okay. This is your first time here?
First time.
If I asked you right now what you were doing on July 18th of 2014, would you be able to tell me?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember having a conversation with Charlie Adelson about his brother-in-law being in an accident? Does that sound familiar to you?
It sounds familiar, yeah.
Okay, so you do at some point remember him referencing his brother-in-law or ex-brother-in-law?
I believe so, yes.
As best as you can remember, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, try to describe for us what it is that he said to you in terms of referencing his ex-brother-in-law being in an accident.
Well, that was it. Like, I remember, or trying to remember, that there was one day that he had called and he said, yeah, like his brother-in-law got in an accident. I don't know if it was a car accident or an accident.
Okay, do you remember, does car accident, does that sound familiar, or you don't know?
I don't know.
All right. Did he tell you that his brother-in-law had been shot twice?
No, ma'am.
Okay. He didn't tell you he had been murdered?
No, ma'am.
Would you have remembered that if he told you?
I would remember that.
The prosecution had years of evidence on Katherine, including what could arguably be the biggest piece of evidence, the bump. The bump is a law enforcement operation where an undercover agent or police officer encounters a person under investigation and attempts to interact with them while wearing a wire. In this case, the undercover agent pretended to be a Latin King gang member. The UC, or undercover agent, didn't approach Katherine Magbanua, they approached Donna Adelson. According to an FBI special agent, after the bump, Donna called Charlie, who called Katherine.
My mom walked the kids. I only heard part of the story, and I'm going to go down there and talk to her tomorrow to find out what's going on.
Okay.
She didn't want to elaborate, but she said that someone approached her on the street, called her by name, handed her an envelope with something in it.
Yeah.
And somebody was, she really wouldn't go into detail, and listen, I have no idea what this is in reference to. Something regarding her son, something regarding his ex-girlfriend, and the person asking my mom for some money. You know, they were making reference to my ex-girlfriend, which I have no clue what that's about.
Yeah.
And that they explained that they needed to be paid some money. Find out who the it is, because the other phone call is going to be the FBI. I'm telling you. Well, I'm telling you, and then when they do catch the person, they're going to be asking him lots of questions about who Katie is.
We already spoke about this. It's like not even like a joke anymore, because
It's not a joke,
it's like
Katie.
somebody's
It's not.
harassing you guys, or somebody's harassing and using my name, and it's
Okay,
like you
so you
decide
want me
like
to
that.
have Katie. Think it through. Find out who the it is. That's all I'm asking you.
You're an idiot. You gave a wrong number. Get the number to call, because I'm gonna call them.
Okay.
And me, I don't even give a about all these bullshit whatever anymore.
Okay.
I'm pissed the off. Like, I'm gonna go to the cops right now.
That was a brief glimpse of one of the many wiretaps the FBI had conducted on Katherine and Charlie Adelson's phones. During Katherine's 2019 trial, she was questioned about these recordings for the first time.
So I want to go over some things in terms of what we have all described as the bump, okay? So I'm going to reference call 1392, which was on April 19th of 2016, okay? This is apparently the first phone call to you from Mr. Adelson.
Okay.
All right. This is the first time that he has informed you that someone approached his mother on the street. Okay? You remember that, right?
Yes.
Did you hear yourself on the recording when you said what?
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe to the jury why you answered him that way?
Yeah, I was confused.
Did you have any idea or know what was going on?
No, ma'am.
And Mr. Adelson told you that someone walked up to his mom and referenced an ex-girlfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Didn't Mr. Adelson explain to you why he was calling you?
Did he explain to me why he was
On
calling
that call,
me?
like, did he say to you, you're my last ex-girlfriend, this is the reason I'm calling you?
Yeah.
What was your concern at this point in terms of what Charlie Adelson was telling you? Did you have any concern that someone was saying your name?
Yeah, like why are they mentioning my name?
But at this point, you don't even know if it's really you.
Yes, because he said ex-girlfriend.
Okay. You even asked him who said I did anything wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you never do call the police?
No.
Now, we hear on a phone call, a very long phone call, and you sounded very frustrated.
Yes, ma'am.
You were using a lot of bad language
I
with
know.
Charlie. Why were you frustrated with him?
Well, first off, that phone call is very embarrassing.
Oh.
I didn't even know that I could say that many bad words in a 23-minute span, but...
Is it weird to listen to yourself?
Yes.
You had any idea at this point that you were being recorded?
No.
Would you have stopped using your phone if you were involved in criminal activity?
Of course.
And do you have information that Charlie Adelson was involved in this?
Do I have information? I mean, based on everything that we've been seeing, but I don't have personal information.
Based on everything you've seen, do you think Charlie was involved in this?
Yes.
Do you think Charlie was lying to you?
Yes.
When Katherine is cross-examined by the prosecution, she claims the additional money investigators traced to her bank account just happened to be a coincidence.
You didn't ask Mr. Garcia to help this lady get her kids back in Tallahassee?
No, ma'am.
You didn't solicit him to commit a murder of Dan Markel?
No, ma'am.
He gave you a paid-for trip to Santo Domingo for you and Mr. Garcia, is that true?
No, that's actually for my children and I visiting his parents, his mom, my mother-in-law.
Did Charlie pay for it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did he pay for a meal service for you?
Yes, I remember that.
Did he pay your credit card bill one time when you couldn't make your credit card bill?
Not that I can recall.
Did he ever give you cash?
Not that I can recall.
Isn't it true that you've been offered some kind of big payoff if you refuse to cooperate against Charlie Adelson?
If I refuse?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Has anybody offered you some money?
No.
Do you remember telling anybody that you would be able to stay home after you get acquitted and have a tutor for your kids to be homeschooled at the house?
No.
In their closing argument to the jury, the prosecution argues there is more than enough evidence to convict Katherine and Sigfredo.
All those little breadcrumbs led to the same place. The Prius led to Rivera, Rivera led to Garcia, and the bad blood led to the Adelsons, and both trails end at Katherine Magbanua.
But in their closings, Katherine's defense team says there's another person to blame, and it's not Katherine.
I can't say why Charles Adelson did what he did, but certain things make sense. Our theory is that him and Sigfredo Garcia had an agreement. Now, the government wants to say that it was through Katherine Magbanua. Our position is it was about Katherine Magbanua. The bump gave him the idea to use Katherine as a buffer. Find out who it is. Call that number.
After a weeks-long trial, the jury is ready to deliberate. They would ultimately convict Sigfredo Garcia on first-degree murder. Sigfredo Garcia is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But Katherine's outcome is much different.
The jury is unable to come to a unanimous decision on any of the three charges.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, so as to Ms. Magbanua, I will declare this case mistried.
Katherine's retrial takes place in 2022, and a lot has changed in the case since 2019. In April of 2022, the FBI makes another shocking arrest in connection to Dan Markel's murder, Charlie Adelson. He's charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation of murder. After news of his arrest, the retrial against Katherine Magbanua is still on the court's calendars. Her retrial would take place within weeks of Charlie Adelson's arrest. The state's theory is the same as her first trial. Katherine Magbanua allegedly acted as the go-between for the hitman and the Adelson family.
Is that what you received from the Adelson Institute?
Yes.
And that was in response to your subpoena for all documentation regarding the employment of Katherine Magbanua?
Yes.
And what's contained in the exhibit?
It's just that she was given these paychecks on a incremental, approximately every 2 weeks. There was a paycheck or a check written from the Adelson Institute to Katherine Magbanua.
And when did the payment begin? When did these checks begin?
In September
September of what?
2014.
So approximately 2 months after the murder?
Yes.
And how long did they continue?
All the way through March of 2016.
Until there were arrests in this case?
Yes, pretty close to that.
All right. Were you able to get any evidence through the course of your investigation that Ms. Magbanua was physically going to the Adelson Institute to perform some job?
There was no indication of that.
Some of the same players testify, like Luis Rivera.
Who paid you to participate in the murder of Dan Markel?
Sigfredo.
All right. And who gave him the money?
His wife. Paid.
Did you ever even know Dan Markel?
Not at all.
Never seen him in your life?
Never, ever.
Had you ever come to Tallahassee before you came here for this case?
No, ma'am.
You have anything against Dan Markel?
Not at all.
So your motive in this murder was completely financial?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was the first person who ever asked you to be involved in this murder?
Sigfredo.
Sigfredo Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
Who set up this arrangement, this conspiracy to murder?
My understanding that I know was Katie was involved. She was the mastermind. She was the middle of it. She told him to come do a job, and he came and told me.
Did you have any understanding of why we were coming to Tallahassee to kill this guy?
Not at that moment.
Wendy Adelson testifies in the retrial as well, under an immunity deal just like the first time.
Did your brother ever mention hiring a hitman to kill your ex-husband?
He never mentioned hiring a hitman. He told one bad off-color joke where he said he had bought me a TV when I got divorced and said it was a present and made a very bad joke and bad taste, that it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
And was that... I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, that's okay.
What else were you going to say?
I think that was it.
All right. Was that a joke that your brother made one time or more than one time?
He has a tendency to repeat himself, so everything he says multiple times.
Do you know how many times he said it?
I have no idea, but definitely twice at least.
And it was your understanding that he had not made any actual efforts to hire the hitman?
Yes.
Similar to her first trial, Katherine takes a stand in her own defense, claiming she had nothing to do with the murder of Dan Markel.
Well, your defense is that you're not involved in this murder, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you said it seems like Charlie Adelson is, obviously, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
And your children's father obviously is too, right? And you're caught in the middle of it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And if you're collecting money from Charlie Adelson for no legitimate purpose, that looks suspicious. It looks like he's paying you or keeping you happy for your part in this murder, doesn't it?
No, ma'am.
Now, the state is saying that it would be weird for Garcia and Charlie to be speaking, as far as you knew, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Wouldn't it be more weird if Charles Adelson asked his girlfriend to ask the father of her kid, whom hated him, to commit a murder for him?
That would be extremely weird.
But would a jury have enough reasonable doubt for a second mistrial?
We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1. A, the defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2. A, the defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 3. A, the defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder.
Katherine is sentenced on July 29, 2022. Even though Katherine Magbanua was never accused of pulling the trigger, her ultimate sentence was the same as one of the hitmen.
In the state of Florida versus Katherine Magbanua, 2016 CF 3036 and 2018 CF 497. Ms. Magbanua is present here in the courtroom along with her counsel on count 1, which is the count of first-degree murder. You have been found guilty by a jury. You will be adjudicated guilty and you will be sentenced to life in prison with no eligibility for probation or parole. On count 2, which is the conspiracy to commit murder, you have been found guilty by a jury. You will be adjudicated guilty and you'll be sentenced to a consecutive sentence of 30 years in the Department of Corrections. On count 3, the solicitation to commit murder, you have been found guilty by a jury. On that count, you are adjudicated guilty and you will be sentenced to a consecutive sentence of 30 years in the Department of Corrections. You have credit for time served of 2,119 days. Your court costs are $2,625 and $100 cost of prosecution, and those will be civil judged. You have 30 days to file a notice of appeal.
This isn't the last time Katherine Magbanua would appear inside a Leon County courtroom. In October of 2023, she was brought back to testify against Charlie Adelson at his murder trial.
I see that you're in jail clothes. Are you currently in custody?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you in custody for?
The murder.
Are you doing a sentence for murder?
Yes, ma'am.
You were convicted of murder?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that the murder of Dan Markel?
Yes, ma'am.
During her testimony in Charlie's trial, Katherine tells a completely different story than what she testified to in her own defense during both of her trials.
What was your defense when you were tried?
That I had nothing to do with it.
All right. That we got it right in reference to Charlie Adelson and we got it right in reference to the killers,
Yes,
but you
ma'am.
weren't in the middle.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that true?
No, ma'am, it was not.
Were you in the middle?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And didn't you also testify in the trial in which Sigfredo Garcia was convicted of murder?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And what was his defense?
That he had nothing to do with it.
That we got it right in reference to Charlie Adelson and we got it right in reference to the killers, but he had nothing to do with it,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Objection, Your Honor, reading.
Overruled, Ms. Calverman, make sure you use any questions.
And was that defense truthful?
No, ma'am, it was not.
So Sigfredo Garcia was involved?
Yes, ma'am, he was.
So why tell the truth now?
I believe that the truth needed to come out now so that the family can get some type of closure.
Why didn't the truth need to come out last year or the year before or the year before that?
I was trying to defend myself.
You were trying to get off?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you think you'd be successful in your trial with that defense?
I thought so.
Has anyone promised you anything for your testimony here today?
No, ma'am.
Weren't you originally offered immunity for cooperation in this case?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
But you didn't take us up on that?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Because you thought you could get off completely?
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And now you're doing a life sentence?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Charlie Adelson denies he had anything to do with his former brother-in-law's murder.
Now, do you recall making a joke that buying her a TV was cheaper than hiring a hitman? Something to that effect.
Yeah, it was. Want me to say what?
Yeah, tell me what the joke was.
What happened was, when I gave her the TV set as a divorce present, it was the stupidest thing I ever said in my life. And I said, I was going to get you a hitman, but the TV set was a lot cheaper, so I went with the TV set instead. And I said it as a complete joke, and it was stupid, but I do that a lot.
Did you make that joke to others?
Yes.
Did you make that joke many times throughout 2013 and 2014?
I made that joke when she was having problems and she was fighting and she was upset. I recycled the joke, and it was stupid.
Did you ever say that joke to Katherine Magbanua?
Yes, I did.
Just to be clear, did you ever look into hiring a hitman?
No, never.
But a Leon County jury didn't agree with the defense's theory.
In the Circuit Court of the Second Judicial Circuit in and for Leon County, Florida, the state of Florida versus Charles Adelson, case number 2016 CF 3036B, verdict. Count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder.
Charlie Adelson is convicted on all counts. After his conviction, another shocking arrest is made. His mother, Donna Adelson, is arrested in November of 2023 while allegedly trying to flee to Vietnam.
I don't want to give it to you. Why do I have to? Why do I have to? You want to find evidence?
Put your hands behind your back like if you were praying. Let me help you out. So
Donna Adelson is arrested on charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation. She pleads not guilty. In December of 2023, Charlie Adelson is sentenced to life in prison. Donna Adelson wouldn't go on trial until August of 2025, more than 11 years after Dan Markel's murder. Like in Charlie Adelson's case, Katherine Magbanua testified against Donna Adelson too.
Why then come now with a different story?
I think that the truth needed to come out, and the people responsible needed to get arrested.
Donna did not take the stand in her own defense. Through her attorney, she denies any and all involvement in her former son-in-law's murder. Her fate is left in the hands of the jury, and their decision brings tears to her eyes.
We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself.
Is Donna Adelson the last and final piece of a dark conspiracy? As of this recording, no other member of the Adelson family has been arrested or charged in connection to Dan Markel's murder. In June of 2025, Luis Rivera was released from federal custody, but he'll serve the remainder of his sentence at a state prison in Florida. Online records with the Florida Department of Corrections show Sigfredo Garcia is serving his life sentence in the Liberty Correctional Institution in Bristol, Florida. Charlie Adelson is serving his life sentence in a prison in South Dakota. His mom, Donna Adelson, will spend the rest of her life at the Homestead Correctional Institution. As for Katherine Magbanua, she's serving her life sentence in the Lowell Correctional Institution in Ocala, Florida. Thanks for joining me on this episode. I'm Elizabeth Millner, and we'll see you back here next week with another female criminal.